Hey everyone, I got some knives. A couple of them that I haven't opened yet that just came in from White Mountain Knives earlier today. And I got these two guys, and they're not technically new to me, but in these forms they certainly are. This is the TS182, but it's the TS182-Lenin. That's because this knife is a D2 variant with their standard Micarta scales. Super nice and thick. And that's because, yes, I've already, of course, taken a look at the original one. This is the TS182 and M390 and carbon fiber. And essentially they are identical, other than that fact. We get the same blade thickness, same blade shape, all that sort of stuff. Same nested liner lock. Yeah. I did notice the thumb studs are actually just a little tiny bit different between the two of these. As you can see, this one has a little extra knurl on the inside, I suppose, but otherwise they're about the same. What I have noticed, though, the thumb stud is still just as uncomfortable, but this is tuned for both. So doing that hurts less than doing it on this guy here. So there's definitely that. Otherwise, yeah, I mean, the action's basically the same, except for, hey, this one is really, really affordable. I picked up basically one of the first ones I saw available on eBay, and won the auction for $50. So yeah, not a whole lot of people are probably interested. Probably because this one is such an interesting and compelling option with the very, very thick carbon fiber scales going on. But yeah, it was pretty interesting. This one, however, is quite a bit different than this guy, and it might not look like it right up close. This is, of course, the G10 variant. This is the TS386, and there we go. Yep, it's in D2 steel with the black and red G10 and liners there. Fairly heavy, and we got the G10 stuff going on here, and that deep carry pocket clip that really extends out the end here. This one is in titanium and carbon fiber, and because of that, we also have a titanium milled clip, so there's that, and we have titanium for that thumb funkiness that going on there, and Kerchunk, yeah, it definitely has a louder sound than this one does, just due to the reverberation going on here. Now, the carbon fiber on these guys is actually adhered on. That's fine. You know, it's generally not my absolute favorite kind of thing to go on there, but hey, I understand it. This one has a nested liner, so it still is basically a steel linered knife. This one is an AUS 10, which, yeah, I don't know. I've had a couple of people mention that, you know, this stuff isn't actually all that bad. And that, you know, if you do it right, it can hold an edge a lot better than D2. Well, I haven't done a cut test with it, but I absolutely will. I am familiar with AUS 10 from, mostly from Cold Steel, as I'd mentioned before in the past, probably when I was talking about this thing here. This thing was very easy to sharpen. It took about the same amount of effort to do this as it did for the 9CR18 MOV that I did on the Syncut Honorous that I just recently taken a look at. So, yeah, this is, it's definitely not a steel upgrade. I will definitely say that. Whether or not it cuts the same or not, hey, it's a little less stainless. But what I didn't really anticipate was the blade stock thickness on this is very much different. Let's see. Yeah, look at that. We got basically 3.25 millimeters compared to the, 3.9 to 3.95 or so that this one is. So for Tucson, this is actually a fairly thin ground knife going on here. I also did notice the carbon fiber here purposely sticks out. It is not flush with it. And I actually like that. It's just as comfortable as this guy is. It's quite a nice handle there. And of course you can choke up a little bit if that's something that you are wont to do. But it really helps with that pinch grip sort of thing, because it kind of feels like it dips down into there without obviously changing a lot of craziness around the pivot there. Really comfortable, so I like that quite a bit. But yeah, it's the first one I've seen in AUS 10 from them. We'll see how that goes, but I don't really anticipate them doing a lot more knives in AUS 10, but we'll see. Basically, I got this one after I had complained, or at least bemoaned the differences here when I was taking a look at the first one. But because of, well, not necessarily my influence, because obviously I don't have a whole lot at this point, but a lot of people weren't all that interested in it, so I did get it for a quite a nice price. So there's that. I think I also saw these show up on White Mountain Knives the other day, but their Tucson stock fluctuates quite a bit. But yeah, I think this one I saw on there for about $83 or something like that. All right, so I got some new knives that I haven't taken a look at, well, outside of the pictures and stuff like that. I guess I'll go ahead and take a look at this Rough Rider first. This is a swayback. This is the R2202. Let's see, I think this is aluminum handle. Yeah, it does look that way. Yep, so we have blue and black going on there. We have their standard kind of scallop thing in there. The blade's actually a little deeper in there than I would personally prefer. But hey, about the only other Rough Rider I've actually had up to date was one that my fellow roommates and the person who owns the house here that I live at went to Hawaii and picked up a little tiny trinket for me that was a Rough Rider. Let's see if I can't find that. Yeah, I did find it. Yeah, it's right here. Yeah, this one obviously doesn't have the same steel on there. This has got their 440, which I believe they use 440A. Because I don't necessarily think at this point, now that there have been multiples, 440A, B, and C. I think 440V, but I honestly could just be talking out of my ass on that one. But yeah, so this one is in VG10. It's a swayback, as you can see here. That's kind of nice. And it is technically just under 3 inches. You gotta keep in mind it has a little tiny bit there before the measurement starts. So the sharpened blade length on this guy is going to be a little over 2.5 inches or so on it. A little thicker grind than I was kind of anticipating, but that's all right. Does kind of look like it has just a little bit of a hollow grind, basically, that's encompassing all of it. So it's not quite a full flat grind, and that might be part of the reason there. But yeah, nice vertical plunge grind. I like to see that. The blade could possibly use to be just out a little bit, or have a little bit more of that sharpening choil, but hey, looks pretty darn good. The action on it, not great right now, but this one is not pinned construction like this one here. So, yeah, I'm thinking I might go ahead and dismember this thing and see if maybe the washers, if they are actually like phosphor bronze or brass or something like that in there, if they could use a little bit of polishing just to help with the interface there. We'll see. But yeah, it's pretty interesting. What I kind of decided on this one for was, well, it's VG10, and I've heard some, decent things about some Rough Riders. I guess they also do the Marbles brand, which is a lot like these guys, but they use D2 for them. So I was a little familiar with that. But hey, this thing is like $22, and for a essentially a 3-inch Warncliffe in VG10, that's pretty darn good. It's not like the carbon fiber that you would find on the Brothers, but I think the fit and finish is pretty much around the same. So. Yeah, it seems kind of nice, and I haven't actually picked up a slip joint for a while. That does allude to another knife that I had just recently purchased, but from White Mountain Knives as well, but has not come in yet. But this is the one that I was interested in. I originally wanted this in red, and then a couple of them came into White Mountain Knives, and I was like, all right. And by the time I went to purchase it, there was only one of each, I guess, and the red one sold out. This is the Marilla. And yeah, they do have another one called the Kinza. Kinzua. It was kind of an interesting word for American company, but hey, whatever. And those started out with a Tonto, but I do think they've also changed those up to possibly have a clip point as well or something like that. I don't know. Anyway, enough of the talking there. We got this box here. Looks like it had a little bit of damage, but hey, what are you gonna do? This didn't really have any kind of seal around it, so yeah, it did kind of bounce around a little bit. That's fine. A box is a box. We got their Case Collectors Club stuff, talking about some new knives here. And of course, this particular model. It won 2021 Blade Magazine American Made Knife of the Year. And I've heard a lot of people talk and mention about it, about how it's interesting, but I haven't seen a whole lot of reviews on it. But I was interested. So, we got this guy here. Whoa. So it's got a G10 insert here, and aggressive doesn't begin to describe it. This is full-on old-school Emerson territory. Like, you are glad that is not going to interface with the clip here, because that would tear you apart. But it's got some nice grip to it, just for it being there. It's quite a bit proud of the scales there too, so it's a little easier to feel otherwise. Got a couple of barrel spacers back there. They kind of look like crappy machined or crappily machined. I'm going to assume it's aluminum because the rest of this is. Yeah, we got a flipper tab. Looks like they really knocked a lot off of that, and it kind of looks a little funky, to be honest with you. But, well, the flipping works, so that's nice. This guy's obviously not a small knife either. We got... Yeah, I basically have 3¼ inch blade, but that's measured from here, and I do believe they measure from down here because they have 3.4 inches that they mentioned that this is done in here. Let's see if I can't grab my little microfiber cloth. Yeah, this has an interesting finish going on to it. You can probably see that with the lights and stuff like that. So it has a washed appearance of some sort. It looks like they basically did an acid wash and then polished the ever-loving crap out of it. That's pretty interesting. I mean, Case is definitely well known for polishing their blades. and polishing them much more than a lot of other companies out there. Oh, by the way, this is an S35VN, and it's US made. It does say on the box, yeah, made with domestic and imported materials. So that essentially, what I'm assuming means is either the aluminum, the G10, the screws, or any kind of combination thereof were made with materials that were imported from elsewhere. Obviously, everything was actually created and machined here in the States. And, well, the blade is S35VN. That's made by Crucible. So that was definitely made here in the States. This pocket clip is fairly short. This kind of looks like it sucks. It's not inset into the handle at all, and we do have some fairly large button screws going on here. But because of that, we do have a huge amount of a loop going on there for it. I have to see how that feels going in my in and out of my pocket. We do have a lanyard thing here. There's no cylindrical hoop going through that, so that can possibly add a little bit more wear and tear on your lanyard material, if that's something that you're wont to do there. The action on it's pretty good. You know, obviously this is running on bearings. Feels nice and smooth. I could probably improve that just a little tiny bit with some cleaning out and tuning the pivot just so. And yeah, this is what I did actually find a little interesting when I pulled it out of the box. Is this is fully aluminum. We don't have other liners going on in here like you would on like the Benchmade 940 here. It's aluminum scales, but it does have steel inserts. And yeah, we do have that hardened steel insert there for the lock bar, so that's going to be interesting. I have not actually really experienced like a frame lock made out of aluminum thus far. I hope that it's quite durable, but yeah, I haven't seen a whole lot of other companies try to do that, and at least part of me in the back of my mind is thinking that's for a reason, but hey, we'll see. I do see that you can switch the clip over to the left side, but lefties, say goodbye to your pants, because this G10, which it will interface with, it's gonna eat you up. But the blade has it's quite nice. It's basically a drop point, but we got a swedge on there. You know, nears makes no difference. It basically is a drop point. But I suppose if this did have a little bit of a curve, then it would be a cut point. We got a little north of a half saber grind there, so pretty traditional for that. This thing is not the absolute sliciest geometry out of the box here. A little thicker. It's definitely, I suppose that makes sense. The blade stock on this actually looks really thick. Let's actually take a look at that. Yeah, that's basically 3.85 millimeters. Looks like is what they're working with the blade stock on this, which yeah, does basically make me think that this isn't exactly designed to be the super sliciest precision laser beam. This is designed a little bit more to be in those same kind of lineup as like the Medfords and Hinderers and things like that. Yeah, just something that's a lot beefier. The handle is actually really nicely designed. Even though this does have a loop here, for the most part, it stays out of the way for my different grips. So that's a deep carry clip that I don't necessarily mind all that much. So that's nice. You know, I'm not really going to complain too much on this, but yeah, I would like to see basically the lock bar relief on the inside, but it doesn't look like they did much in the way of milling on the inside, so yeah, that's just kind of how it is. And that steel insert does act as an over travel stop. Got a nice amount of jimping, even way up here if you really want to get your thumb out there to put a lot of force up here as you're muscling through something. Yeah, that's quite nice. I like that. And this, as I was mentioning, how it kind of looks a little strange in the machining here. Does actually, it feels quite comfortable even when you're gripping up close. The flipper tab doesn't curve back in, so it doesn't dig into my finger there. And it's not crowned, but very, very nicely softened. So it's pretty cool. They've done plunge grind pretty good here. We got, it's basically ending way back here. So we have quite a bit out here that the plunge grind doesn't even come into play there. So we got quite a few sharpenings in this, which is great. Hopefully the hardness on this is actually really good. I haven't tried to reprofile it or anything, but I certainly will here, because usually I do like my my powder metallurgy stuff in around the 15 degree area, and this does seem like it's a bit lower than that. It also looks, as far as case goes, yeah, it seems about par for the course. You can see some jaggies going on the blade here. And you can also see that it's higher ground here than the other side. So, true to form, case really doesn't take a whole lot of time and care to have precision done on their sharpening. It's still probably pretty sharp. That's pretty rough, actually, in the feel of it. So yeah, it's fully sharpened, but it definitely has much more of a working edge than something fully refined. Look at that Rough Rider, since I haven't checked that yet. That's right around the same feel. I'm doing this because I don't have my edge tester close by at the moment, so this is just a really quick preliminary sort of thing. But yeah, let's go ahead and get some measurements out here for it. I got the blade stock thickness on this guy. How about some handle thickness? Yep, 0.51, so just a little tiny bit thicker than a PM2. I will do some blade comparisons here in a moment. Let's see, how about exactly what I end up getting from the top there. 3.33 inches there. So yeah, I do think they're probably either measuring from the very bottom of that sharpening choil, or even maybe just a little bit farther back for that 3.4 inches. But it ends up working. It does feel nice and sturdy, though. The clip does tick a little bit like that. Obviously, if that's in your pocket, you're going to have cloth in between there, so you're not going to hear that. But yeah, I mean, aluminum is a pretty good handle material. I've, of course, enjoyed it on, at this point, mostly Benchmades. You know, obviously the 940, but also the 921. Rest in peace. I gave that to a roommate many years ago for them to carry around for some personal protection sort of stuff. Hopefully they still have it, because, wow, that thing is probably worth a whole lot of money these days. I looked to try to replace it a while ago, and was pretty amazed because, yeah, well, it's an old Benchmade, so it's now in a collector status. But, all right. Oh, I should probably do a little bit of these measurements here for the slip joint. We got 0.41, well, 416. And Curious about the blade stock thickness going on here. We got basically 2.3, maybe 2.35, somewhere right around there. Obviously, these aren't the most accurate of calipers, but they definitely get me close. I wouldn't want to actually do any machining work by them, but for actually measuring things, works out pretty well. Well, all right, so blade comparisons. Speaking of that aluminum Benchman, there we go. A lot more handle on it. And the Benchmade technically would have a bit more length going on to it if it wasn't, my 19-year-old bedraggled old guy. But yeah, you can definitely see that we have more handle going on in this case here. Let's see. Here we are with the Ontario Rat number 1. This blade is just a little bit longer there, and handle's even longer on that. So there is that. Let's see. Spyderco Enduro? Why not? Oh, one that I haven't pulled out for a while. The the Dozier Folding Hunter. It's quite small comparatively, though. And sure, I like the Kalashnikov 74. I understand that not a whole lot of, well, depending on where you are, switchblades aren't legal, but it is getting better as time goes on. As, yeah, definitely here in Colorado, we weren't able to have switchblades for a very long time, nor were we able to have butterfly knives, but we do now. A lot of that's thanks to the people lobbying a lot of that stuff. My mind is completely slipping on exactly who, but yeah, I will probably leave all that information down below so I don't just feel like an ass and completely leaving that there. Okay, let's see. We have this guy, and I will do this with some other slip joints, I suppose. Why not? That's the Artisan Cutlery Biome. We get the Real Steel Luna, which exists in about 80,000 variants at this point. Let's see. Oh. Yeah, we got the Cold Steel Lucky one. That's kind of small. And then, because that makes sense for a lot of traditionals, this isn't the best version of it, but this is the range buster size. So yeah, it's right there in the middle of the pack. It is not a tiny little dainty knife like say this Lucky one. It still feels pretty darn nice. For 22 bucks, I am quite happy with this thing here. This does not have any half stop on it, unfortunately. I generally prefer those. And yeah, the blade doesn't quite meet up to the top there. So that's a little bit more of a fit and finish kind of thing in general. Possibly this would wear up to that over time. I don't know. But yeah, it does have that top there. So unless this thing fails catastrophically on you, you're not in danger of slicing yourself with it if it does kind of come undone a little bit. And because it doesn't have that half stop, it won't actually fully snap to that right out of the gate. Sorry, that probably looked gross. I think I spit just a little bit when I said that word too. Pretty neat though. I do kind of enjoy that full hollow grind kind of thing there without just seeing a divot right there in the middle, which means that basically that hollow grind wheel had a large enough radius to be able to take care of the whole thing. Pretty interesting. But yeah, doesn't have a half stop, and I do wish that a little bit more of the blade was available just to make pinching it open a little bit easier. You know, obviously I can still do it, but it's going to be a little bit easier on something like this, where I can get a little bit more purchase on the blade. All right, well, this video went on very, very long. But that's okay. For the people who want to stick around and see all that, they certainly can. And, you know, for those who don't, no hard feelings. I know everyone is probably just as busy, if not more than I am. So, yeah, but that was kind of a fun video, taking a look at the case and this Rough Ryder RR2202, as well as just kind of a quick little overview of the TS386 in titanium and the TS182 in micarta. All right, as always, I appreciate y'all for watching, and have yourself a wonderful rest of your day, yo.